in the wind this morning, but it is looking pretty good so far for your Wednesday. We're sitting at about 70 degrees right now. Well, he's decided to take the holiday off, so we'll get a movie review with him this morning instead.
James A. Molnar from the Toledo Free Press joins us this morning to talk movies. Tammy specifically, this movie is what we're chatting about.
Yes, we are. Melissa McCarthy is back in theaters. We saw her in Identity Thief last year, and you know, she's not been making quite as a big a splash as we saw her in Bridesmaids, but this one kind of stars her as a woman with a mess of a life. She gets fired from her job, her car breaks down, her home life is kind of in pieces as well. As you see here, she resorts to robbing a fast food joint with her.
Oh my gosh. I can already tell.
Okay,
Just
that
from
was
the
cute.
little bit we've seen,
That was
she is a mess.
Yes, and she kind of needs to get out of her current life, and she ends up on a road trip with her grandma, played by Susan Sarandon. Now, granted, this is slightly improbable, but you know what? Comedies kind of thrive on improbability, and you know what? There are some funny moments in this movie, and I think one of the first funny moments in this movie comes about 20 minutes or 30 minutes into this movie and involves a raccoon.
So there's a little teaser.
Yes, there's a little teaser, but this is actually written and produced by her and her husband, Ben Falcone, and he directs it. So it's kind of a passion project for both of them, and they produced and wrote this. Kathy Bates stars in this movie as well. She's really funny.
Love her.
But I mean, overall with this movie, you have some laughs here and there, but you just kind of want Melissa McCarthy to be in her kind of element that she was with Bridesmaids, and she just doesn't quite get there, and you're not quite sure if it's her fault because she helped write it, or if it just didn't work
for some
you know,
reason.
because sometimes in your head things work out a little better, and I feel like her character depth in this movie is a little bit more shallow than some of her better Saturday Night Live performances that we've seen. So it just, I'm giving this 2 out of 5 stars. Not the biggest fan of this movie. And if you want to see a better comedy, I'd recommend 22 Jump Street. I laughed a lot more in that movie. This one isn't bad. If you're a big fan of Melissa McCarthy, you can muster through it. It's not too long like Transformers' 3-hour length last week, but overall, not the greatest. However, there are 3 other movies coming out this week, all with a kind of a different approach. You have America, which is a documentary with the from conservative directors Dinesh D'Souza and John Sullivan. That kind of gives us the idea of what if the U.S. lost the Revolutionary War, what would America look like?
Oh, that's interesting.
You have a kind of scary movie with Deliver Us from Evil, starring Eric Bana, and Earth to Echo, the kids movie of the week, rated PG. It's kind of a mix of Super 8 and E.T. However, as I was telling you before my segment, most of these movies actually aren't getting very good reviews. So it's interesting that they don't really have the big tentpole blockbuster coming out this week. We saw that last week with Transformers. So if you still want to see something blowing up and exploding, that one gives you a lot more bang for your buck. But Tammy, like I said, not the greatest, but it does provide some laughs. But maybe 22 Jump Street is the better one.
Option.
Or just stay at home, enjoy the beautiful weather.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm kind of surprised with the holiday week. You would think maybe some bigger ones or ones that were more favorable would come out, but the weather's great, so you could do that instead. Maybe skip movies this week.
There you go. That's why I did this early, so I could enjoy a long weekend.
Hey, we don't blame you for that.
Not at all.
Thanks so much, James.
No problem. Where she plays kind of a hot mess in theaters.
Who doesn't love a hot mess? We love a hot mess.
I mean, the movie starts with her car breaking down. She gets fired from her job.
What is that? What is that scene?
As you see toward the middle of the movie, she has to end up robbing a fast food place with sunglasses and a hat, and she gets kind of in trouble with the law. You know, there are some fun moments in this movie, and you know, she kind of has to figure out her current life, what she's doing with it. I will say the first half of this movie takes a little bit used to getting into these characters and whatnot. Once the second half starts, you can finally enjoy it. Kathy Bates has some good appearances in this movie. Overall, though, I'm giving it 2 out of 5 stars. I'm not the biggest fan of this movie just because I know what Melissa McCarthy is capable of. We've seen it in even The Heat or Identity Thief or with Bridesmaids, for example, and this one just doesn't have as much muster as I'd like for it to have.
Her personality is very specific. Are they
Absolutely.
Are they reaching too much with this now? I mean, because they played it out in Bridesmaids, they played it out in Identity Thief. Is it too much this, or does it still work for this one based on the new plot?
You know, I think it works at times, but overall I think she's reaching a little too much. If you want to see a good Susan Sarandon road trip movie, of course check out Thelma and Louise. If you want to see a good Melissa McCarthy comedy, probably not this one, but maybe rent Bridesmaids or The Heat.
I love
Those
that
are
one.
both
It was
really
on
enjoyable.
TV the other night too. You can DVR it. It's a good one.
Yeah, and so there you go. 2 out of 5.